the governor of the state of Texas, has made a bold statement against the President of America, but he did it in such a subtle way that if you heard him speaking, you may have allowed for his words to enter one ear and exit the other and not think much of it. But I tell you, the man has actually made a public statement declaring that he will do whatever he has to do, even if it means to go against the President of America. He will do it. There is a battle to determine who will be in charge of the armed forces or the military. One is saying, I dare you, and the other is saying, I dare you.
The federal government has said, we're not helping, so Texas said, all right, enough is enough. Governor Abbott, keep up the great work.
I wanted to be here and thank the soldiers and troopers and other personnel. As far as I know, it's the first time in American history that a state has led the effort to prevent people from entering the United States illegally. Let's be clear. That's the job and the responsibility of Joe Biden and the federal government. There's only one reason why people were trying to enter illegally in the first place, and that's because they perceived the permission by the Biden administration to enter.
If Texas is helping to erect barriers, putting up razor wire, doing other things to keep illegal aliens out, I want to be helpful with them doing that. I don't want to be part of the federal government trying to tear down these barriers and let more people in illegally. This is crazy that this is the case.
Thank you to my fellow governors. Half of America now is standing against the Biden administration, also more than a majority of all the attorneys general across the country. Biden is not taking on Texas. Biden is taking on the United States of America.
Greg Abbott is once again challenging federal authorities on the border. He's saying Texas has a right to self-defense because he believes the federal government is not doing enough.
Texas National Guard soldiers putting up more razor wire in Eagle Pass to increase border security, despite the federal government allowing border agents to remove or cut that wire.
The Supreme Court is siding with President Biden in a dispute with Texas over the border.
A Supreme Court ruling is giving the federal government more flexibility here at the southern border. The justices ruling Monday that Border Patrol can cut and remove about 30 miles of razor wire installed along the Rio Grande by the state of Texas, escalating a political battle between President Biden and Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
You heard it. By your own ears, you heard it. Why does it make any sense? Think about it. Brothers and sisters, God Almighty gave us common sense. It's common sense. We have been given common sense. Does it make sense for the Supreme Court to rule in favor of the Biden administration that they can send the border control agents from the federal government, that they should go down to Texas? Imagine this. Texas has put razor wires, barbed wire fences, all those things to prevent illegals from coming in anyhow illegally. Does it make sense that Biden wants to send border control agents to go over there and cut off 30 miles worth of that, so that they can allow for illegal immigrants to come in to the country? You know what I think that should be? That is Biden literally betraying the American people. Of course, these people don't care about you. Now, here's the thing. I personally believe that when you see these kinds of things, I think that this is an act of treason. I believe that this is an act of treason. I believe anyone who is willing to put the safety and the security of the country, anybody who is a leader and willing to put the safety of his people at risk and open them up to a possible chaos on purpose, I tell you, brothers and sisters, that is an act of treason. Now, here's the thing. Listen, brothers and sisters, they know what they're doing. Do you realize that the powers that be, which are behind the scenes, it's not Biden who's the one that's running the show, by the way. Biden is simply just a puppet. He's nothing more than a sham. He is a political puppet. Did I say puppet? He is a puppet. There is a puppeteer that is controlling the strings behind Biden. And look at this. I will go ahead and say this for the record. This is senior abuse. When you think of Joe Biden, think of senior abuse. Why senior abuse? Because the man is old. His brain is falling apart. And the man literally fumbles his words. Someone is telling him what to do. And think about this. What is that making the left look like? It makes the lefties look like lefties. Like they're so far gone to the left. They're so far gone beyond redeemable. But now they're making the Republicans look good. The political pendulum is moving to the left. Political pendulum is swinging to the far left, which means it's about to swing to the far right, brothers and sisters. Watch. People are going to be crying for President Trump. People are crying for Trump. There appears to be great enmity and animosity that is boiling now between state governors and the President of the United States of America. A divided kingdom, a kingdom that is marked for its own desolation. The ruler of America decided that illegal immigration should be tolerated and illegal entries through the southern border should not be criminalized, knowing that this is compromising the security of the nation. As a result, 25 states have decided to join forces with Texas, making them a total of 26 states. That is more than half of all the United States of America. They have decided to stand against the government. That is to say, the federal government. I'm talking about standing against the President of the United States of America to oppose what their president is doing. Friends, if you don't know history, you are bound to repeat history. Please open your eyes and take into consideration the words I tell you right now. This event happened before. It happened to the kingdom of Rome. I keep telling you, Rome collapsed because of illegal migration and because of barbaric tribes entering into the Roman kingdom, and they ended up invading and destroying Rome from within. The seed of corruption, the seed of division, it was planted within the kingdom of Rome. Such is the case with America.
Now Joe Biden's being encouraged to federalize your National Guard, your state guard. What happens if he tries that? Because he did have a deadline of Friday. He hasn't done anything, as usual, but what if that happens?
If he tries to do that, first of all, as you know, this is the number one issue in America. Americans want a secure border. If Joe Biden federalizes our National Guard, that would be the biggest political blunder that he could make. And that's why I think he will not do it. That said, of course, I am prepared in the event that they do make such a blunder to make sure that Texas will be able to continue to secure our border.
I'm telling you that the whole world is a stage. The whole world is a stage. There are problems which are being made. There are problems that are being created. It's thesis, antithesis, or antithesis, and synthesis. Create the problem. There's going to be to every problem, to every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. So you create the problem, there's going to be a reaction to that, and then you come and you provide the solution. Make sure you understand this. Whether they are Democrats or whether they are Republicans, both of them work for the same authorities. The plan is for America to be pushed on the political pendulum far left, to be so bad to the point where people are going to plead, people are going to cry for a Republican. People are going to cry for someone who will set America straight. Someone who is very militaristic. And who is that? President Trump. The Texas governor, he actually made a statement when he mentioned about Biden making a political blunder. Do you know what he was actually saying? When he mentioned this, he was addressing because Biden wants to nationalize, he wants to federalize the Texas National Guard. So he wants to take the troops of Texas and make them solely belonging to the federal government. He wants to federalize the troops of Texas. And what do you think Governor Abbott is going to do about it? You think he's going to stand by idly? He just made a statement that he's ready to stand his ground. Already 25 states are willing to stand by Texas. So if Texas were to branch out, guess what? All these other states are coming along with Texas. They will branch out and they will stand in opposition against the Biden administration. And guess what? There's predictive programming in video games and in movies about Texas and California, Florida breaking out from the federal government and operating independently. This is the same thing that happened with ancient Rome. This is world history repeating all over again. I want you to think about it, brothers and sisters. Think about it. We're going to touch into how states can branch out from the federal government and how they can legally do that and operate independently. We'll explain that in the next video. Furthermore, I will also touch into why your leaders are fighting hard to remove the Second Amendment. Now, the Second Amendment cannot be removed anyhow, just like that. You see, the Constitution cannot be suspended anyhow. So, what you must do is you must create the right atmosphere for you to be that can enable you to suspend the Constitution. So, what am I saying? That means that you are possibly looking at a civil war. You are looking at a crisis that should plunge upon the land, and that can grant you emergency powers and emergency measures to be able to suspend the Constitution. By that time, then you have the perfect atmosphere to declare martial law. And I tell you, friends, when that is declared, your constitutional rights get suspended, and furthermore, your Second Amendment's rights also get suspended. And now, but remember that the people, that the Second Amendment is there for the purpose of, not only defending yourselves, but also should the government ever rise up against the people, the Second Amendment is there so that the people can be able to stand up, they can rise up against an oppressive government. Remember that Hollywood has been making movies about these kinds of things. They know what's coming. They're the ones who are orchestrating it. They're the ones who are shaping the future. It's not that they predict the future, they can see the future, but they are shaping the future. Before going any further, let me share with you this important information. Last video, I brought to all of you the sister who was pregnant and gave birth to a child who has the massive tumor in her face, deforming her face completely. Here, she is now laying at the hospital bed. She has finished the surgical procedure, and it seems that her body is recovering and she will be able to be restored back to herself, and her body, her face is going to is beginning to go back to normal. And so things are looking good in that aspect, but things are not looking good on our side in terms of how we're going to finish this case, because we need at least $7,000 US in order to be able to accomplish this task. It is a lot, it's heavy, but nonetheless, friends, this is what it is right now that we're dealing with. Any help that we can be able to receive would be greatly appreciated. Even though the video may have received thousands of views, truth be told, the number that came would not reach 10 people that came to support us. But I give praise to the Lord God Almighty for a remnant, because God works through a remnant. Now I want to play for all of you a clip of the surgeon who flew from America to go and perform this procedure.
Okay, we glorify the name of God today. I'm here once again with Dr. Kamazin from the United States of America here in Nigeria. Doctor, welcome back once again in Nigeria. Last time I saw you was last year. Welcome. How is it going?
It's going well. We just did a big surgery on Chidolo
who
had a enormous jaw tumor, and we thought at first that it was an amyloblastoma, but which is not malignant, but this may be malignant.
Okay. So, Doc, since I've been coming here, see, this girl now, we are 100% sure that she's gonna be normal to this surgery.
I can't say.
Okay.
If I knew for sure it was an amyloblastoma,
okay,
then I can say it's fixed.
Okay.
But the tissues were looking a little bit more malignant.
Okay.
You know, there was more growth. It just didn't completely look normal.
Okay.
So it could be something much worse, like sarcoma or carcinoma, but it might not be. So she may be cured. We'll know in about 1 week after the pathologist looks at it.
Okay. So the Controversial Ministry all over the world, I am here with Dr. Kamazin. This man is a wonderful man. God gave him extraordinary wisdom. Man, I want to tell you that I don't see any doctor here in Nigeria that can be able to handle this situation. It's a very critical situation. There is other doctors that help him to do this surgery today. He's a wonderful man. He's also going to do more surgery concerning this case called goiter or tumor. So we thank Dr. Kamazin. So the Controversial Ministry all over the world, once again, I want to ask for help and for aid for this woman. We just pay in a little money and the hospital here for them to do the surgery.
And on top of that, she just delivered a baby 3 months ago.
Yes.
So financially, she's not in the best shape.
Yes. What the doctor is talking about is that the woman delivered baby 3 months ago. She has a little baby that she delivered 3 months ago. And the truth about that is that that child is not sucking the breast, but rather the child is taking milk. She needs a really help. Please, the Controversial Ministry all over the world, we have not paid for the main bill of this surgery. That is very, very important. Even the doctor that was invited need to pay him to the help Dr. Kamazin. Please, we call the Controversial Ministry all over the world to come for the total rescue of this woman. And also pray for Dr. Kamazin. He is trying very well here to make sure that people will live a healthy life here. There are people that are supposed to die years ago and they are still living. It's through this man here.
Now, seeing the situation that we have on our hands, if you do want to help us to lessen the burden that's on our shoulders, you can help us financially by either going to our website, the ministry website at www.thecontrover7.ca, or you can use Cash App or Zelle or e-transfer, or you can send donation through mail. All that information is on your screen. That being said, friends, I want to say thank you ahead of time for those who have come to help us and for those whom the Lord will use to help us to do the work and to finish his work. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. As the final chapters of the history of mankind is being written and drawn into conclusion, and the final participants are here, that is you and I, we see that the Bible tells us a time shall come when the Lord of hosts and the great captain and chief commander of the heavenly army shall stand up. And at that time, a time of trouble shall there be, prior to resurrection morning. Brothers and sisters, Jesus gave to us a prophecy that accurately depicts the kingdom of America. And the clue was given to us. Do not take this as simply advice, but rather take this as prophetic. And Jesus knew their thoughts, and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? These words call for wisdom. Brothers and sisters, these are prophetic statements. When Yeshua was speaking concerning this, he knows what he was saying. Yes, every house divided cannot stand. Every kingdom divided against itself cannot stand, neither every city. There is enmity that is placed within the hearts of the leaders. And even so now, there is enmity between governors and the president. Even so, what we are seeing, brothers and sisters, is the fall of the great republic of America. The truth is, brothers and sisters, America has been hijacked a long time ago. The kingdom of America was hijacked very, very long time ago by the secret shadow government. And these are the ones who have their representatives to stand before you as presidents. And each one that comes only does the bidding of the shadow government. And friends, I tell you this, all leaders who are put in office, all of them, it is no accidental, and it was not because the people wanted them, but one way or another, whoever these elite shadow government want to be the one that will represent the interest, their interest, not the interest of the people, but the ones who will stand in power to represent them, they select them. But they convince the public to think that they are the ones who are responsible for choosing these people. Your leaders are selected and not elected. This is the Controversy 7. I am your host, Emmanuel Lokonga. Thank you for tuning in and for joining me. You take good care of yourselves. Be blessed, be safe, and I will see you shortly.